The 2024 NBA Draft's first round came and went with a big trade made by the Blazers, and they also took a big man from UConn. I know that Craig is excited. I'm a little lukewarm on it. And of course, I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and Oregon Live here with Craig Birnbach on draft night. We're coming to you on this podcast right after the first round, about a half hour after Joe Cronin talked about taking Donovan Clingan, 7'2" center out of UConn, a two-time national champion. Wow, I have a lot of opinions on this.
Yeah, you do.
And then we're going to talk deep in that, but then we're going to get into the trade they made because they used the 7th pick to get Clingan. They did not use the 14th pick because they traded it along with Malcolm Brogdon in a future first and 2 seconds to Washington for forward Deni Avdija, which is a very interesting move. I'm mixed on it. I like C+ grade on that. But anyway, we're going to dive into all those things here tonight. Let's start with the draft pick of Clingan. It had been out there for a long time, Craig, that they were targeting that guy. Joe Cronin said tonight they considered moving up. You know, as talked about, they had him graded higher than 7, but they really thought they had a good chance of him falling to them. And boom, he falls into their lap. What better way for a GM to spend his draft when the guy he realistically wants falls down to him? I know you're excited, so I'm going to let you talk before I give you my
first of all,
Debbie Downer perspective.
What could go wrong with the Blazers picking a big man in the first round?
Nothing at all.
I mean,
Nothing at all. Wrong? If I'm him, I'm trying to get an injunction if I can, whatever that is.
Look, every draft preview we did, I said that's the guy I wanted the Blazers to get. I want him to get Clingan. I like it. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star. I'm not saying he's going to be going to be Gobert. I'm not saying he's going to be Sabonis. What I'm saying is he is 7'2". He's a winner. We know he can play defense. He's a good passer. In the modern NBA, if you could have a big man who's athletic, who can play defense, and is a good passer and can do pick and roll stuff, he's going to play. And he's going to help your team. And they didn't have to move up to get him. They get him at 7. I think that I believe they actually liked him. Like, I believe their talk saying that they even liked him last year, if he was going to come out.
Scouts loved him. Scouts loved him last year, and they spent more time on him this year because of it, and everyone fell in love with him.
I just think, so I'm excited for that. I was excited when he was going to come down at 7. Your guy, Holland, went 5. You know what I mean? Like the guy that you were,
My number one guy was Tid Jane, who went 6.
When he went,
and Holland was on my 6, list too. Yeah,
and he went 5. I'm just saying the guys you liked, they didn't even make it there. So, he fits their age range. I don't give a hoot that they already have a center because I believe, and we'll talk a little bit about what Cronin said, but basically Cronin said we are not good enough to be worried about who we got in front of who. We're not there. So get the best available talent. That's all I wanted them to do. I wanted them to get the top guy, and I think this was their top guy. I mean, I don't know. I think in another draft, him in a different era, he goes 1. Just because people have seen more. He's 7'2". And then when Edey went in the top 10.
He wasn't dominant enough to go 1.
Look, man, there were plenty of guys that have gone 1 that were not dominant, and they turned out pretty darn good, at the center position. I'm just saying center. Look, and it's not a great draft.
True.
I'm not gonna sit here, come on here and say I'm not thrilled because this is the guy I said from the get-go I want him to get. I was excited that he fell. I thought there was a second there. There were some reports that someone jumped up to 6 and was going to take him
to Memphis.
But there was actually a report out there. I don't like doing that. Someone said it happened.
Yeah, I was totally confused.
Yeah, they got it wrong. Right, and I was like, no. And then it was like, oh, they're trying. I'm like, oh. And then 12 seconds later, and they failed. Blazers are going to get Clingan at 7.
And Woj even reported that the Blazers were trying. Like there was they were trying to do a preemptive
They were trying
strike.
to move up to make sure they didn't get bumped out of it.
Right.
So, and they didn't have to give anything up to get Clingan. He picks him 7. I like that. I will see. There's a guy whoever is below them that ends up being the all-star. Maybe that gets thrown up there someday, and you pick Clingan. But
it depends on where that guy goes.
I'm just saying that's
maybe,
we talked about that. It's roll the dice and luck. Somebody liked Holland at 5 because no one, no mocks really had him that high. So, and Edie went 9, right? So there's some jumps in here. The Blazers, you can't, in my opinion, you can't be mad. Like, this is where everyone said, if he's available at 7, the Blazers should take him. And you know what he's not? 6'2".
Hey, hold on.
There you go. I mean, he's 7'2". So I'm cool with it. And your criticism's going to be, that you don't think he's that he's going to be great. I'm like, yeah,
right.
But if
that's not fair.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
good enough for me.
Right. Yeah. Look. It's a weak draft. You get a guy at 7 in a weak draft. Dicey, but you can't control the pool of players, right? They did their homework on this guy for a long time because scouts loved him last year. So you have to trust that their brain trust did their homework and really came away feeling like they really like this guy. Cronin wouldn't say where they had him graded on their board, but he said definitely higher than 7. So if this staff is worth its salt, then maybe they ended up getting the 4th best player at 7, and other teams passed on him for whatever reason they passed on him. It doesn't matter. I think it's a solid pick. I don't think it's fair to criticize it, especially from the standpoint of you and I both agreed, most people agree, best player available, period, regardless of redundancy. However, my only problem with this big picture-wise, and I asked Cronin this, I circled back after someone kind of asked about 8, and I circled back and said, look, last summer, the centerpiece of all those flurries of trades they made around Dame was Ayton. He was the most hyped, most talked about. He called him a top 5 center, said he hadn't reached his peak yet, right? And that, he's supposed to be the guy. And then you come right around and you draft a center. And unlike other positions, center is not something where you start 2. It's like quarterback in football. You don't start 2, you start 1. You only start 1 center in basketball. These two cannot play together. Maybe for a few minutes here and there, but you can't start them together. I mean, I guess you could just for the heck of it because you want to lose, but you can't. So the last thing I said to him, I almost didn't really mean to say it. It just kind of came out conversationally. I'm like, one of them is going to have to go. Now, he said it's not a matter of one of them is going to have to go, but no, one of them is going to have to go. If Clingan is a starting caliber center, you're going to move Ayton. If Clingan does not become a starting caliber center, you're going to keep Ayton, or if Ayton's just flat out way better than him, which he's definitely more talented than him. And then the question becomes, okay, is Clingan good enough that we can flip him for something else? Or did we waste an opportunity to draft a young wing like a Cody Williams who might have a higher ceiling? That's my only concern. And so they're redundant at a spot that they told the world, they told Blazers fans that getting Ayton was a huge deal and all of those moves. And now you come back 9 months later and you draft a center. It's just weird. Regardless of the fact that we agree, best player available, it's still weird.
So what's weird is that they thought that everyone would buy into the fact that Ayton is going to be that franchise player. I mean, I still don't. Here's the thing. If in 2 years, Ayton is that franchise player and his contract's up and you re-sign him, okay. So you got Clingan. You know what I mean? And maybe you have to. Maybe. But if he's not, which the odds are he's not, I mean, let's just be honest. He's not new.
Just a backup? So then it's just a backup then?
No. I'm saying there's a chance Ayton's gone. That you're going to.
Okay, you're not going to. Okay, sorry. I got confused.
Okay. Yeah. He's not a franchise player because he's not new to the league. And while he's still young, was traded because a franchise who was ready to win. They didn't do a great job of it this year, but thought they were ready to win a title.
Yeah.
Didn't think he was even a starter on their team. They'd rather have the Blazers guy that they got rid of, than him. So I don't care. Like, in the sense, it's worth, get the best player available. Watch them go. Either you see Clingan, you're like, oh, dude, we're good. Bye-bye, Donovan. and that's amazing. And even Donovan still, and you still gotta
What?
It's confusing, but it's not that hard. You can.
When
you're
you
not
said
good
bye
enough.
Donovan, did you mean bye DeAndre?
DeAndre, who's Donovan?
Okay, you said Donovan.
Billy Donovan?
Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, yes, I know. I'm like,
that's why you confused.
DeAndre.
Okay, so
you mean bye
DeAndre,
yes.
DeAndre, and then Clingan.
It's late. Right. It's late. I'm in my backyard.
I'm just making sure I cleared it up. Okay, but here's the thing though. If you say bye to DeAndre, you're probably not going to get a ton for him. And my point is, it circles back to that. It starts diluting what you got last summer.
The trade wasn't good. Stop trying to act like the trade was good. It wasn't.
I've never acted like it. I'm the one who said it was smoke and mirrors. They acted like it was good. And my point has always been, hold on a second. But my point has always been, if you miss on DeAndre, that's a major setback because DeAndre is more talented than Clingan. You need to hit on DeAndre because then you have a legitimate centerpiece who can be 24 and 12 when if he matures and decides to do what he did the last 2 months of last season. If not, you're going down in talent level. And Clingan to me has a ceiling. I do not believe in 100 million years he's going to become an all-star. I think he could be a good center, which is fine, but you're still losing on what you thought Ayton was going to be, which sets you back. That's all I'm saying. To me, it's a setback if Clingan is not great and you move off DeAndre because DeAndre is less than.
I mean, sure. But
sure. So then you're left with a marginal center that doesn't move the needle moving forward, and it's just
So what I'm saying is I never believed DeAndre Ayton. If that's what they were trying to sell as being, we got to
call him a top 5 center whose upside was still.
And there's still a chance it's true,
right?
And then you can flip Clingan if he's good. It's not like, look, the Blazers just made a trade for a dude in his 5th year in the league who's a marginal starter, and the Wizards got 2 first-round draft picks for him. I'm just saying, you can flip stuff if there's talent, right? If Clingan looks like a starting center in the NBA, and you say margin, you don't know if he could be an all-star. I mean, center's an odd position, you know what I mean? And it doesn't last long usually. Not everyone's Shaq and Kareem and get to play 20 years in the middle. Even, it's usually a 5-year flash. I mean, you've had so many different centers make the all-star team, and then never touch it. But anyway, I still think it's the best move. With all that said, and I don't disagree with anything you say, and I don't think DeAndre Ayton is a bum. And I think they still might be right. Maybe Ayton comes back next year. But I mean, I don't know how you can how can Ayton rise to that height on a team that's trying to lose? So I don't even know how he gets there in 2 years. I mean, I think their windows didn't match up.
He can still put up numbers and they can lose.
But then you have to re-sign him.
Right.
So in my opinion, it didn't even matter if you got him. You could, I'm like, you're going to let him play basically 3 years and then be like, okay, now we're ready for you.
Well, here's what I'm saying in a nutshell. To me, Donovan going the way of Lowry marketing and figure things out at 25 and blowing up, best case scenario by far. And if that doesn't happen, which I said day one, it's a major setback. And to me, Clingan doesn't change that setback if that's what happens. I don't believe Clingan is going to be that great. I think he's going to be solid to good, and that's fine. But to me, that's a setback. And I think in 3 years, we're going to be like, he's all right. And everyone's going to be, here's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to be waiting for him to blow up like they kept waiting for Nurkic to blow up. He's supposed to be such a great passer, 1.5 assists. Is that fair? Maybe not.
Let's be clear.
He's surrounded by all sorts of scorers and
Nurkic
shooters
did
and
blow
1.5 assists. Huh?
Nurkic blew up when he got here. He blew up.
Well, right, but everyone expected that to be the norm.
Well, then he broke his leg in half.
Waiting for him to take another step. He never did. He was good, and people were mad. So let's talk about that. You think Clingan's gonna be better than Nurk?
I think he's got the potential to be better than Nurk.
The potential.
And here's the thing: there's good Nurk and bad.
What's more than likely? What's more than likely? Though?
Well, he's going to be better than bad Nurk.
Well,
I'm just saying, you're talking about a player that at one time went 30 and 20, and another time couldn't make a layup for a month. He's a different. So I'm not saying that he can't be a
And this
really
guy's not even
good
a
starting
shooter,
center.
dude. He took point. Hold on
So
a second.
none of
So
them are in
he
college,
took
man.
he took 9 threes in college. So he's not
Yes,
even a floor
but
spacer.
why would he? He was dominating inside. They won 2 national championships. Why would he shoot the 3? The
You
NBA
still
is
think he'd
different.
shoot more than?
I mean, do you think? I
more
mean,
than 9 in 2 years? Anyway,
Look, Jokic didn't come in the league chucking up 40% from 3 right away. You know, like he was. I'm just saying, Brooke Lopez. Do we think Brooke Lopez is going to be a 3-point shooter? I'm just saying things are strange. Myers Leonard, and I don't want to go back there, but Myers Leonard ended up being a 3-point specialist. Like that was his gig. No one thought the Hammer was going to be a 3-point specialist. I'm just saying, like, I think there's potential in the offense, and I also think that. So you look at what is going on in the NBA. Hartenstein for the Knicks, he's about to make a whole lot of money. Probably not with New York. And what could he do? He could play defense. He's athletic. He's a good passer. He could, and they could use him they could play through him sometimes. That's the NBA now. Like,
okay,
this
here's
guy
another
could be
red
that.
flag. You want another red flag?
Give me
Career
injuries.
56% from the line.
Oh yeah, he can't.
Okay, so give me your grade. Give me your grade. What's your draft grade?
Oh, I'm going B+.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
I'm not giving it an A because it's a draft, not because they didn't do the right thing, but because it's not a good draft, like, and they picked him 7th. And if you ask me who was I more, Shaedon Sharpe, Clingan, right? Like, it's different. I have a different view. Sharpe's like, can he be a star? Clingan's like, can he be a solid starter? But that's not the Blazers' fault that there weren't others there. So I give it a B+. And I also think that, like, we're not experts, but every draft board, nobody had him falling further than 7.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's kind of like the Scoot thing. You could be mad that Scoot wasn't what Scoot was.
You have to give him more credit for this because there's a lot of different directions they could have gone in.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that was the pick they should have made, and they did, and I'm glad. You're right. They could have traded down. They could have traded out. They could have done.
Or they could have taken other guys with maybe bigger upsides. Who knows? Anyway, okay. I'm going to give it a C because, 1, I don't think he's going to be a marquee starting center. 2, I think
we can move. Things. Who would you have picked?
Oh, I would have rolled the dice on a young forward like Cody Williams or someone like that.
Really? So you would have picked Cody Williams at 7? And pass on.
I'm not saying necessarily him. I wanted TJ, and he wasn't there, but someone like that. It might be someone else. I have to go back and look at the list, George, etc. But someone with that wing type of player, the athletic wing with the potential to develop into an elite level scorer. Like I just would have gone there.
They traded for one that they might think could do that.
Well, let's talk about that now.
Here's my criticism of your C grade. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me like that who you would have picked over it. So I think you should at least give it a B.
I just said someone like Cody Williams or someone of that vein.
When they drafted
a small
7,
forward wing type guy who can ball and has a greater upside because they have athleticism. They've demonstrated they can shoot, unlike this kid who can't shoot from the free throw line. He's a center. Okay, but in today's day, you have to be able to shoot as a center. You can't just be loading up in the block like you're Kareem.
Who shoots well? 6'3" guys.
He is a good rim protector, and then also the Aiden factor. I think that matters because I want to know what Aiden's reaction is to this.
I hope he's mad.
He came to Portland. Remember what he said? I'm in a place where they like me. I'm in a place where they want me. I feel wanted here. I'm becoming acclimated. I learned everybody. I'm this and this. He busted his ass the last 2 months playing with Chris Murray, Scoot, Rupert, and Kamara, and some other dudes out there. And he busted his ass the last 2 months. Had a DeAndre Ayton dominating, was allegedly back, and then boom, they go draft the center. I can't imagine that he's happy about this at all. But anyway, let's move on to the trade. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You got something? You got a rebuttal?
No, I'm going to say, like, that's fine, though, because I think it's an easy, as long as they told him, or talked to him after me, like, hey, man, we're in a position to take the best available player.
And the other side of this, too, is
bust them up. And
the other side of this is maybe this makes Ayton go, what?
Yes.
man, I'm going to dominate that kid.
Yes.
I'm going to crush that kid.
Exactly.
And then the season start, he's 25-12, and Clingan's like, damn.
Right. That's what I'm
So
saying. Like,
that could
that's
happen,
what competitors do, right?
Yep. So
I mean,
I'm giving it
he
C
joined
for
a
now.
team that the most tenured guy on the team watched this happen right then. You know, like you look it over and go, hey, man, like they just drafted like no one thinks Clingan right now. No one's thinking Clingan starting over Ayton. Right after the draft, the whole world was saying Scoot's the starting point guard over Ant. You know what I mean? Like, so it isn't that bad, at least.
That was ridiculous. Okay. I'm on my way to the draft, thinking I got to write about 2 draft picks. And along the way, Woj Bomb sends my car off the freeway onto an off-ramp into a parking lot so I could post real quickly that the Blazers had traded Malcolm Brogdon, the number 14 pick this year, and the second best of the 3 first rounders the Blazers have in 2029. They have their own, the Bucks, and the Celtics picks, and 2 second-round picks to Washington for Deni Avdija, a 6'9" forward who's going to go into his 5th season. He was a 9th pick a few years ago by the Wizards. Now, real quick, he came on last year, so his first few years in the league, he
not good.
Averaged 8 points, 5.5 rebounds in 25 minutes, shooting 43% from the field and 31 on threes.
Couldn't shoot.
This past season, he started 75 of 75 games. He'd been mostly a backup before. 30 minutes a game, averaged almost 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 50.6% from the field. That's a huge jump from 43, and then 37.4 on threes. However, he only took 3 threes per game, so it wasn't a high volume number. But of course, he played on a team with Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, who were jacking up shots all over the place. He had an amazing 43.42 rebound game last year against New Orleans. He's a 6'9" forward. They definitely had a need a forward. I don't have a problem with them moving this 14th pick in Brogdon because you needed to move Brogdon, and I don't think that they would necessarily taken a player better at 14 than him. But the other first-round pick, really, plus 2 seconds?
Yep.
Really? For this cat? I don't know. I think they overpaid.
Yeah, the thing and his contract's really good. So there's 2 things that worry me. One, his contract's really good, and then the Wizards, who stink, traded away a guy that picked 9th and is only 23 years old. That makes me worry that that they didn't think he was part of their future. But I mean, the whole point of getting Brogdon was to get assets. And while this guy's Israeli, I'm a Jewish American. He's a Jewish NBA basketball player, so that's a thing. I'm happy about that.
I have a couple of his rookie cards. You want to buy a couple?
I'm just saying.
I'm going to send you one. I'm going to mail you
But
one.
it seems like the Blazers were making – this also gets them – clears out salary.
Keep talking.
You
got another point to make?
Well, I'm just saying they cleared out salary for it. So it makes me feel that they were given draft picks up to get to help them on the salary cap, which is never what you want necessarily. But look, he's averaged 15 points a game. He is going to be their second best forward with Grant, and he's 23. So he is not he's close to what you wanted, Aaron. He's close. He's a forward.
Okay, so real quick.
Go ahead.
He blew up. He had a stretch. So the last 27 games, I think he was 18 points, 9 rebounds, shot well. Last 27 games of the season, he was starting blowing out. So I buy and sell sports cards. So I bought this one right here. I'm showing that I like. I have some faith in this kid. This one's numbered to 75, graded gem. This one's numbered to 35, graded mint. And this one's graded gem, numbered to 50. So I got a little bit of skin in the game. I got a little bit of skin in the Deni game right here.
He's got money. I got pride.
I got money wrapped up in my man here. So I'm hoping he comes here and does well. Look, I think they overpaid, but I called it. Someone asked me what I thought about it. And I said it's a cute trade. And what I mean by that is that I don't believe this guy's going to come in here and be dominant. Don't think he's going to come in here and be an all-star. He does still have some room for upside. But again, dude, Washington spent the 9th pick on him.
5 years.
And they have him under a good contract, and they moved him for a pick, 14th in a bad draft, and a pick in 2021, top 29. That's going to be the second best of the three. Usually when that happens, the guy getting moved doesn't blow up and blossom. But like I brought up Lowry. Lowry did. Right, so could this guy be like that? It's possible, but those things are rare. Okay. So it's a nice move because you need it forward. He's going to be the second best, and I think they're going to probably trade Grant maybe this summer. So he might be the best forward on your team. Yep. He's 6'9", he can play the 4. Look, people I talked to with the Blazers, they love him as a competitor. He's tough. He didn't have the greatest defensive rating, but he at least gives effort. And he's blossoming. He's still growing as a shooter. So I think it's a nice pickup, right?
Yeah, at the very least, it's just shocking when you saw it, you're like, yes. And then you're like, what? They gave up 2 firsts? Like, what? Like, excuse me? So Brogdon, so they needed to trade 2 firsts and Brogdon to get a player that Brogdon's better than? You know, like.
Right. Okay, so listen to this. Listen to this. Okay. I'm going back to the trade last summer just to make a point.
Yeah.
So they traded Dame, Nurk, Little, and Keon Johnson pretty much, right? After giving up, they gave up 2 of the first-round picks. They only got 3 first-round picks and 2 swaps in all those deals. Yep. They just gave up 2 of them.
2 of them.
For this guy. So now that leaves you with Brogdon. Ayton, Deni, Williams, Kamara. 1 of the 2 first-round picks you had from 29. Be either the Bucks one or the Celtics one. Or it might be both and you gave up your own. One of those picks is going to be gone. Sorry. And you obviously keep your own. And then 2 swaps in 28 and 30. And you also gave up 2 second-round picks. So that's all you have now. And if Ayton flames out and you got to move Ayton for whatever you get for him, now what do you end up? Deni, Williams, Kamara, whatever you get for Ayton, and then 1 first-round pick and 2 swaps. It's just, to me, it's just stunning to me that 2 of your 3 first-round picks you got in the Dame trade are now gone with Brogdon and 2 seconds for this guy. And I'm not saying he's not bad. I'm just saying, come on, really?
It's weird. Like, okay. I think I'm glad they did it because, you know, why have Brogdon? And his stock kept going down. But I just shocked. This just proof that picks aren't that great. It doesn't mean anything all the time. It doesn't get you there. It makes you feel good. But in the end, does it turn you into a champion? We all know I'm a Knicks fan. So the Knicks just traded a boatload of picks for Bridges. And someone was like, oh, I like it, but they gave up too much. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they're trying to win a title now. They got Bridges, who's a level below all-star, a 2-way player who plays 82 games every year. He's right at that age. You know, he's in his prime, but not on the front end of his prime. And you're saying they gave up too many picks because in 29, they're going to give up another pick and another. I'm like, that's not what this league's about. This league's about trying to win a title. And your window is, for the Knicks, these guys are all right around 27. It's 3 years. Like, that's
if they're 20, wait, who's 27? Brunson?
They're all
Bridges,
OGs 27. They're all.
That's a 5 year.
It could be.
Prime's supposed to be 28 to 33.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, in general, you don't get 5. You know, the dynasties are 5 years and above. You get a window. Like Milwaukee might win 1 title. They had their window. They went for it. They won 1 title. They went for it again because they know this is it, right? Like, but I'm like, you want to just keep getting picks and sucking like that? That's not, it doesn't work out that way. So, and you know how you get picks? You have really good players and then you give them away, you know? So,
and you hope that those picks you gave up, most of them are going to be
bad
in the 20s. Yeah.
But like this same guy's a Blazer fan. I'm like, so you're saying we gave up too much? What? Meanwhile, your team just gave up Brogdon, 2 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders for this dude. Who I like for a certain reason. And I'm glad the Blazers made the trade in a way because having Brogdon and the picks, who knows, this guy was the 9th overall pick. He averaged 15 a game. Now, on a really bad team, and a lot of the points came late in the year when they were trying to lose, like, you know, to get where they to get the higher pick, and they got. But I'm just saying, like, so they picked this guy 9th overall, and now they just shipped him out for the 14th overall pick and another first rounder. So, and guess what the Wizards do? Suck. So, like, these pick things, you can eventually get there, but I personally go for it. And I always say that, go for it. That's why I'm like, Milwaukee went for it. The Gobert trade. Everyone said too much. They're on the cusp, man. They're on the cusp. They might win a championship. They might not.
But Gobert, though, what happened to him? He kind of got exposed a little bit, right?
Right, but he was good this year, and then he got exposed, but they're on the cusp.
Right.
And they could win a title, and Gobert could be part of that. And they gave up those, and then if you win a title and you're Minnesota, like, I'm sorry, I don't remember all those parades for the T-Wolves in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember. Like, I wrote back to the guy. I'm like, we got a shot. The Knicks have a shot next year. The Knicks won a title in 73. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go for it. Blazers won a title in 77. That's the whole point I've always said. You go for it. You give up. When Lillard was here and CJ was here.
But what was after the Blazers? Because the Blazers are giving up.
I'm just saying the picks
for marginal guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you get excited about those picks, just know you're living on hope, and it doesn't get there. Like, when they brought in Brogdon, the thought was they were going to, you just said it last week, they were going to flip it for a first round pick, maybe 2. And instead, they flipped it, give it up 2. It's just a bizarre world in the NBA because of this new salary cap, too. Yeah. These double aprons. I mean, and clearly the Blazers eventually are going to sell. And when you're getting rid of salary, it's hard to ignore that as a fact.
One thing Cronin said is he talked about being committed to building around Scoot and Sharp, right? And he left out Ant. You and I have talked about they got to move Ant. That I know he's talked about Scoot and Shaden before. Hearing him say it again today really just drives home the fact that Ant's got to. I want Ant to get out and go somewhere where he can thrive. Do you think that happens this summer?
What's that?
Ant gets traded.
Ayton gets traded?
Ant
gets traded. Oh, I mean, yeah.
He flat out said we're committed to basically building around Scoot and Sharp. That means that's your backcourt, and then but your best guard is Anthony Simon. So you got to trade him.
I mean, I've said that forever. You have to trade him. Now, does it happen this summer? I don't think the Blazers have to trade Ant this summer. Just because of where he is in his age. And while I do think, as you know, I said that your stock isn't going up, I think as far like Grant's stock and Brogdon's stock, to me, it's on the decline a lot faster than Ant. Ant's just 25, and everyone kind of knows the deal because he's not going to play the way he should play on the Blazers. So I feel like, but I do think they missed the window. Like, what are they going to get for him, right? I don't know. His contract's good. I mean, Orlando should trade for him. You know, like, it seems like bring the guy home and let him run that team. But what are they willing to give up? I don't know. But I think he can get traded at any single moment. I will not be shocked. I think it's the same thing as, you know, the Brogdon trade happened. I'm glad. I told you I wanted that to happen yesterday, so I'm glad it happened today. The Ant thing, yep. I'm down with them trading him whenever possible. It does not make any sense to have him on this team, and I feel bad for him.
Yep.
You know, I mean, he's rich, he's good. Like, I don't feel that bad, but you know, as a player, like, he's 25, he's been waiting. And I'd like him to get a chance.
He's been waiting here. He was going to play with Dame, and now Dame's gone. He was going to be the guy, and now you've committed to these other two guards. Set that man free. All right, give me your trade grade.
Oh, I give the trade grade a C+.
Yeah. C+.
C+ because it's.
I
see people giving it an A. I'm like, how's that an A? Nobody was talking about this guy, you know, about this. I mean, he's good, and you hope, but come on. And you gave up 2 first-rounders for him and 2 second-rounders, which are assets. But I'm glad they did it because keeping Brogdon is silly. I'm just, you gave up the 14th pick for him, so you really didn't believe in this draft. So they could say whatever they wanted. They gave up the 14th pick along with Brogdon. So to save money, and another first rounder. But I would rather have a 23-year-old guy who could play, the 3 and 4 than Brogdon.
Yeah. All right.
What do you give it?
Anything else? I originally was C+, and then I came back to, after I did more research on him. I think I was at C+ because I have those rookie cards. And I did some research on him, and I came back to a C. I mean, it's a cute little trade. I mean, we'll see how he does. He's young, right? He's 23. He could continue to blossom, but he's a negative net 7 rating, which isn't fair. His defensive rating 117. His offensive rating.
But he's on the Wizards, man.
I'm just saying. I know, like I said, it's not fair, but he's done nothing in his career that makes you go, "Oh my God, I can't believe we got this guy. Plug him in. This is going to be amazing." He's not Bridges, right? So it's just a guy. It's just a guy who's a solid NBA player who's not. I don't think.
Well, we don't know that
the needle.
Yet, though. That's the thing.
I think he's solid. I think he's already solid. No,
I mean,
50%. 50%.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like he averaged 9 last year, and then he jumped to 15, and a lot. Like what I say,
he became a starter.
And also, bad teams score 100. So if and if you're the guy,
but he shot 50% though.
He did.
But you got okay. So that's the thing where it's not
and
just
he rebounded.
volume, and he rebounded exactly. Yes. So that's why I say he's already a solid player.
Well, look,
I think he's solid.
I have paid a little more attention to him because there aren't that many Israeli basketball players that it's not like. So I like him, and I'm glad that he's a starter because we don't have, it's not like there's a ton of Jewish people out there on the basketball court dominating the NBA. So I pay attention to him. So I do like him, and I think there is still. I always worry about 5 years in the league and still hoping, right? But last year was a huge jump. Now I think they're going to stink, and if he starts, he's going to score 15 a game, especially if they trade Grant. He might score 18 a game because, again, bad teams score 100 in the NBA. So somebody's got to get 20 and usually 2. But, yes, it's not a great trade because the whole point of getting Brogdon was supposed to get you something where you were going to say, like, oh, wow. And that was either through another first-round draft pick or through a young forward. I told you I didn't think Brogdon was going to be – I don't think people were knocking down the door to hand the Blazers stuff. So, but I'm glad they moved off of it because starting the year with Brogdon and Ant and Scoot was silly to me. And
do you believe Reed Shepherd? Go ahead.
Yes, shooting's really important. It's a big part of the NBA right now, and they think they got the next Steph Curry.
Do they really?
I mean, they picked him third. He weighs 112 pounds. So, like, they better. I mean, what else do they think they got, right? I mean, they don't think they have just a guy. They don't. He's not a 3-and-D. He's a. He's a
3-and-3. He's a 3-and-3.
I'm just saying, like, and they look at the pedigree, and I'm not. Look, there's some people who had him as the 1 on their board. Some really talented, NBA draft experts had him 1 on the board. So, I watched Steph Curry in college, and he was magnificent. Now he played 3 years, so you got to see a lot more. But his freshman year, his body wasn't even where Shepard's is. He weighed 1. There's a reason why he went to Davidson. This guy went to Kentucky, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say he can't be. And obviously Steph Curry's great, the greatest shooter of all time, probably, and so I'm saying that's what they're hoping for, right? They're hoping for that they're going to catch lightning in a bottle, and they've got the next, closest thing to Steph Curry. And I hope he is, because Steph Steph's getting old, and I just love watching that. I mean, I love watching that kind of basketball, guys being able to handle the ball, pull up from 40. I mean, it's awesome. We got to watch it with Lillard at a, not quite a Steph level. So, and he's not on the Celtics, so I can root for him.
All right. Well, I think we've exhausted this topic. Second round tomorrow, 1 p.m. Yeah, the 34th pick and the 40th pick. We'll see what they do with those two picks.
Yay! How's the G League? How's the G League?
They might find a gem. You never know, right?
You never know.
The introductory press conference will be Saturday, and we'll come back and talk about the entire package of activity next week. Thanks for listening to Blazer Focus Podcast. I'm Aaron Fentress. He is Craig Birnbach. We'll check you later.